For all you fans either of this channel or of the weird stuff I do in general, I have some wonderful news of the literary variety. It's true, I have some excellent news. Many of you know, particularly if you've been watching this channel for a while, and if you haven't, welcome. But if you have, you know that I have recently started a publishing house called Polymath Press. I've brought out one of my own books, Case Files of the Rocky Mountain Paranormal Research Society, which there will be a link where you can purchase down in the What's It, and y'all should do that. You can get them either directly from Polymath Press or from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever fine books are sold. But this is not just a self-publishing venture. This is a publishing house, and there's a lot of interesting stuff going on behind the scenes and a lot of wonderful announcements coming in the very near future. Not just in the horror genre, but this is my business we're talking about, so there's a lot of horror news, as you might guess. But that brings us to one of those announcements, which is ready to be announced right now. And that is that this book is now available. Or rather, it will be available on Friday, Black Friday of 2023. It's currently available for pre-order, or if you're watching this after Black Friday, it's available now. This is a book called In the Woods, a Fiction Foundry Anthology, edited by yours truly. And I'll say right from the start, this is not exclusively horror. This is an eclectic anthology, but horror writers are a bit overrepresented in the Fiction Foundry group, which I'll be discussing in a minute. So there's quite a bit of horror in this, including one of my own pieces, one of my own short stories. And I think it's some pretty good stuff. I would say that, but I honestly believe it. I think there's some great stuff in here, and I think y'all are going to like it. So I want to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about the newest book from my Polymath Press, the newest book that I have edited, and that's this, In the Woods, a Fiction Foundry Anthology. To begin with, what the hell is Fiction Foundry? Well, it's a writers group that I've been associated with for a while. It's a sort of critique group. I mean, it is a critique group, but it's not the touchy-feely sort that you might have seen some places. This is a group of professional authors and editors and some artists and a variety of people in the literary and publishing world who've come together, and yes, it's a critique group. They are critiquing each other's stories, but the goal is not just to make a story better, not just to stroke each other's egos, but specifically to prepare works for professional publication, which I think sets Fiction Foundry apart from not all. There are some other critique groups along those lines, but it sets it apart from a lot of critique groups. It's one of the few that I've actually enjoyed being a part of and gotten something out of. And they will be linked down in the What's It as well. So if you're interested, in fact, Fiction Foundry is recruiting. So if you're a writer, drop me a line, go to fictionfoundry.org or click the link down in the What's It, and you can find out more information. As a matter of fact, recently I have taken over as president of said writers group. And at the same time, I put together this anthology. This was not open to the public. We did not have an open call for submissions. This was for writers in the Fiction Foundry group, basically to show off what they can do. And not every member of the group is represented in here, but all the members are pretty good, and the ones in here have turned in some great stories, and there's a lot of good stuff in here that I think will be of interest to people who are watching this channel. So I suppose a good place to start would be just to read the description off the back of the book, which says, "Strange things can happen in the woods. Sometimes they're frightening. Sometimes they're funny. Sometimes they're just plain weird. The authors of the Fiction Foundry Writers Critique Group have taken it upon themselves to explore all the strange things that happen in the often majestic and yet often harsh woodlands. Fiction Foundry, established 2012, is a group of writers dedicated to helping prepare one another's work for professional publication. In this anthology, the group's authors show off their eclectic visions of life among the trees, featuring contributions by the wonderful authors whose names you see on your screen at the moment. This anthology brings us out of urban life and shows us a world of forest spirits, haints, mental illness, parasitic spiders, werewolves, out-of-control plants, evil forces, reincarnation, humans with animal ears, witches, and Lovecraftian horrors. And all of them can be found in the woods. So as I said, there's quite a variety in here. There's a variety of lengths, a variety of styles, even a variety of genres, although as I mentioned, it skews toward the horror and dark fantasy side of things. It really is, as much as it's not my place to say, it really is a good book. I can kind of get away with saying that because even though I edited this and compiled it, most of this is not my work. I do have one short story in here, but most of this is not my own work, and I can say these authors turned in some great stuff. I enjoyed reading them the many times that I read them as I was putting this all together. They never seem to get old. There's some really great stuff in here. If you're interested in this, it's available everywhere for pre-order. You can get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your local bookstore. They may not have it in stock, but they can for sure special order it. But you can also get copies directly from me and my publishing house if you go to polymathpress.com. That's where you can, well, get them directly from me, which helps support my business. That's also, unless you happen to meet me in person, at the present time, the only place where you can get a signed copy. I will be happy to sign these for you and send them off as soon as they're available this Black Friday. As I mentioned, I do have a story in here, and I should explain. I am the editor of this anthology, and typically it would be considered kind of poor form for an editor to put his or her own work into an anthology he or she was editing. This case, I consider the exception because this was meant to be sort of a calling card for the writers group where all of our authors, myself included, could put a piece in to sort of show off what we can do. So that's my justification for putting one of my own stories in here. My story is this one. It's called Parasite. It takes place in the Amazon, not the bookstore, but the Amazon. And it involves a creature that, let's say you really wouldn't want to happen across in real life. So I think if you like the kind of stuff I do on this channel, I think you'll like my story. I hope. I certainly think you'll like all these other stories because I liked all these other stories as well. This is one that I don't think you're going to want to miss, so head on over to polymathpress.com and get your copy now. And also be sure to check the links down in the What's It where you can learn more about the publishing house, Polymath Press, because I'm really excited about all the things we're doing. You can sign up for our mailing list, which does not get you a ton of spam, I promise. I only send out emails when there's really something to announce, a new book or a contest or a giveaway or something of that sort. You can follow our Facebook page. There's links to all that stuff down there. Great way to stay in touch with me when we're not here on YouTube. Great way to stay abreast of what I'm doing with the publishing house. And let's just say, this one I'm really proud of, I'm really excited about. I am also really excited about some other stuff that's coming down the pipeline, so you will want to stay tuned. Anyway, I hope you will forgive me for the slightly more commercial than usual video here on this channel. This is not turning into an advertising channel. I'll keep letting you know when I do have new books out or new projects in the works, but I'm also going to keep doing my other stuff. I'm going to keep doing the reviews, the book reviews, the movie reviews, deep dives into horror stuff, talking about anything and everything creepy or horrific. So we will be back to our regularly scheduled programming very, very soon. Make sure you've subscribed and rung the notification bell and all that good stuff. And I'll see you next time. But until then, as always, take care and stay scared.